Riddle me this, Batman. If we hate marriage so much, then why on earth are we so excited that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged? Welcome to the Heavenly Minded Home, friends, where we have real discussions dealing with real topics from a biblical point of view. And I got on in between my homeschool day with my kiddos, and I went to look for something on YouTube. We needed something for multiplication, and I see Brett Cooper's video about this big engagement announcement or whatever. And then, of course, you see like 9 million things popping up. And even my husband goes, "Oh yeah, I saw that last night. Apparently, Taylor Swift got engaged," which is hilarious because if my husband knew it happened, everybody must be hearing about it if he's even heard about it. And I go, "Oh, that's so funny." Now, I will just say flat out before we get into this, I am not a Taylor Swift fan. We are not a Taylor Swift household. My, 12 and almost 15-year-old daughters, that's not something they're into. So this isn't like a Taylor Swift thing. You do not have to be a Taylor Swift fan. I don't even watch football. I had no clue who Travis Kelce was until, honestly, my husband would show me some clips from a podcast apparently he has. And there was something they were talking about that was really funny that popped up in his feed, and he showed it to me, and it was funny. And that was it. That's the extent of my knowledge. But this shows us a much deeper thing that I think every single one of us should be realizing, because we live in a world that mocks and discredits marriage like there is no tomorrow. The sanctity of marriage literally doesn't exist in our world today. We know that marriage rates are the lowest that they've been. We've had like a 60% drop since the 70s. More people are cohabitating together, living together outside of wedlock than ever before. It has now become the norm for children to be born out of wedlock. Divorce rates are sky high. I mean, we can go on and on and on about how much marriage is just hated in our world. It is made fun of constantly. If you're watching a movie, the husband's always belittled, right? We go on and on and on about all these different ways. But yet, even though marriage is apparently outdated and it's just a piece of paper, when these types of unions come out, like a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, I even look back to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, you obviously William and Kate, any of these big, when Victoria Beckham got married, well, not Beckham then, right? But when Victoria and David got married, you look at all of these big marriages, and when they come out, it really does impact our culture. We go wild as a culture over these weddings. So why is a demographic that hates marriage so much, like I would say the average Taylor Swift, Swiftie demographic is, if they hate marriage so much, why are they so excited that she's engaged? Have you ever really stopped to think why we hate marriage so much, yet on the other side of the coin get so excited to see this fairy tale come true? When we look at the topic of marriage biblically, we see in Hebrews 13:4, give honor to marriage and remain faithful to one another in marriage. This idea of one man, one woman, faithful in marriage, that's God's design. Going all the way back to Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, God's original design, right? This explains why man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united to one. What we see here with this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, for any of you who don't keep up on this stuff, myself included, she obviously is Taylor Swift. She's the biggest thing known to man. I don't quite understand why everybody's so obsessed with her like they are, but they are. And she, there's this very kind of fun story that happens with him. She ends up meeting him, they get together, and have been together for the past couple of years. I actually watched, she went on, him and his brother, football players, his brother's retired, he's still a football player, for the NFL, and they have a podcast, the brothers do, and she actually went on his podcast and had this whole big conversation. They talked through a lot of things. I actually watched that the other week when it came out, just because I was curious. Why the obsession and the different things, because I really don't get it. And I thought it was an interesting conversation. It was neat to see them talk and to see, whatever. It is what it is. I just was kind of curious. So I personally watched it. And I think it's interesting that they represent this just storybook romance that of all the things that they have done, her being there when he wins the Super Bowl, him going out on surprising everybody while she was on her tour and like being part of the performance and doing all these different things, like we live in a world where most people are so unbelievably cynical about their own relationships, but yet we somehow find a way to project our longing for love and stability into these celebrity relationships. And we see it over and over and over again. I mean, I remember when Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston got divorced. I mean, I was a teenager and it just felt like there is no hope for love in the world because Brad and Jen aren't together, right? If they can't be faithful to one another and he's going to leave her for Angelina, like there is no hope in the world. Like I just remember that. It's what everybody was talking about. It was everywhere. We have so much wrapped into this stuff. But I think what a lot of it is it really is us projecting what we deep down want, even though we're currently being so cynical about marriage, our own relationships, the things we're going through. And when we understand that marriage symbolizes hope, that new life coming together, God's original design, that longing that is deep down in every single one of us, when we've rejected it for ourselves and taken on the cynical view, maybe we're unhappy in our own marriage, maybe we've been divorced, so we have this like horrible thing about it, it's just a piece of paper, right? This whole ideal that we have like made marriage to be. We're just content to be forever girlfriends or whatever it is. We see that people actually do crave covenant. They crave that security. They crave that promise, that safety in the union. But when we have turned our back from God and we don't understand marriage through a biblical lens, isn't it interesting that, again, one of the largest demographics, Swifties, that as a whole are probably one of the furthest things we could possibly pull together to like traditional biblical values, but yet they're losing their minds, so happy for her to have finally found the one and be engaged and getting married, and like it's so beautiful and wonderful. Why is that? Why are we now turning this thing into this spectacle? I mean, it's only going to get bigger. Apparently he proposed a couple weeks ago, but they just finally, shared it with everyone. Everybody's already speculating everything about the wedding and what it's going to be like and what they're going to do, and will it come out when her new album comes out, and all of this stuff is like going on and on about it. But yet if you ask the average person their thoughts on marriage, most people are living out of wedlock. Most people have slept with more people than they could probably count on their fingers. Most people don't think it's anything special or important, right? Most people will talk about it's just a paper, it's just some system made up by man to keep people tracked down. We have all these crazy, crazy views about it. I think it's interesting that Ecclesiastes 3:11 talks about how God planted eternity in the human heart, right? We long for things that last. And anyone who has gone through a divorce, it's difficult. It is very, very difficult. And it's difficult on everyone involved in the process of a union that you thought was going to last forever, coming to an abrupt end, regardless of the reasoning why. Divorces are difficult, whether they have a righteous reason for them or not. It's difficult. We want things to last, right? We want good things to keep being good things. We want to have that safety. Romans 1:25 tells us that we traded the truth about God for a lie. So they worshiped and served the things God created instead of the Creator. Look at our world today. It has so turned its back on God. That's the whole Romans wrath of abandonment. Amazing, amazing study to look into. But we see that we have a world that's discredited marriage even being a man and a woman, marriage being something to look forward to, marriage being something to invest in, marriage being something to hold up and honor. But yet, something like this happens, and all of a sudden, it's all we're going to hear about until they get married. And then all we're going to hear about is when they're having a baby. And all we're going to hear, right? So it's like, we want to say, like, we hate these values, and, the Bible, it's so outdated. It was written by man. It's a mistake. I'm doing what I want to do, right? We have all these things that we, the world, says. But then when it comes down to it, what are we rooting and cheering for? Biblical values. They just don't realize it because they have traded the truth about God for a lie. So I think it's interesting that our excitement, our being the world, I personally just think it's quite interesting, right? Like, if you're really into Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, whatever, like, that's fine. That's between you. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but the fascination over these people and her specifically and how she's done what she's done, like, I think she's an amazing, like, character study or case study. Like, I just find, like, the business side of it and all that stuff just fascinating. How much it's, like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. The domination of the world stage is, like, a little scary that she's been able to do, but then, like, watching the process, I think, is kind of an interesting thing. But it's showing that we don't actually hate marriage. We don't. Because then why are we so excited for America's sweetheart to be marrying the star football player, right? We don't hate marriage. Deep down, we're all longing for it. We're longing for true love. We're longing for commitment. We're longing for exclusivity. Anybody who says that they don't want that, they like dating around, they like sleeping with anyone they want, they like having multiple partners, they like whatever sinful thing that they're trading and running into, anybody who says that that's what they actually like, there is always deeper seated trauma and issues underneath that, because we don't actually like that. As human beings, that's not actually what we desire, what we long for. Now, many of us have had really bad experiences. We've gone through very traumatic things. We grow up in this twisted world. Like, we have all these things that come into it that go, oh, see, that's the problem. So I don't like that anymore. I like this. Well, then how come you feel that empty pit within you? How come you try to cover it up by just pouring more and more sin onto the fire to keep yourself going? We don't actually like it. We want the beauty of covenant without the cost of commitment. We think it's okay to be a forever girlfriend until you realize one day that you gave your best years to someone who wouldn't commit to you. We give men the bonus prize without ever having them commit to us in marriage. We treat our marriage like a joke and then wonder why it falls into shambles. We don't hold up the sanctity and beauty of marriage. Marriage is difficult. It is not easy. I got married at 17 years old. I am now 38, almost 39. Trust me, I have spent my core formative years working on my marriage. It is very, very difficult, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Marriage in our culture has become entertainment, right? So much of what is pushed out is who's marrying who's divorcing who, what's happening here. We have cheapened it to such a degree that it's allowing us, I think, to just be like, oh, okay, whatever, it's no big deal. But yet, who's been through a divorce? How hard was that? What was it like being there with one of your closest friends or a family member, maybe even a parent, as they were going through a divorce? It is not easy at all. It hurts. It's hard. I think of that Reba McEntire song. Who'd she do it with? She did it with another country star. I don't remember. But it was, it came out a long time ago. I don't remember the name. But it was the song where in the music video, it's them meeting up to exchange the kids and do the thing. And, what their life is like now that, we thought this is what we wanted. But now here we are and this is what we're having to deal with. And it is the most heartbreaking song in the whole wide world. I mean, even people I knew that were like proud of being divorced would watch that and be like, oh, wow, yeah, that hit home. That's what it's like. They've put on such a facade that they love being divorced, and they're so glad to be rid of him. And now they're, ready to do things the way they want them to. But then you see those things that bring it back and you go, oh man, yeah, it's really hard. Even being divorced for a good reason, which those are very, very specific, there's still pain. There's still struggle. We love seeing other people. So then we love this idea of living vicariously through Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I'll just look all into that while I'm still sitting over here not knowing how to address the fact that I'm longing to find that too. And I think that's that point here is we see that we do have a desire for marriage, for godly marriage. One man, one woman committed to one another, truly building up a beautiful life, being there for one another in the good times and the bad, the highs and the lows, in sickness and in health. We love that because that's how we were designed to be. And that's why it breaks my heart when you see people that are, going through a divorce or continuing to live with a guy that they're not married to, and to have their kids and keep doing their things and then end up just being miserable at the end of it because they never got the piece of paper. Well, it's not about getting a piece of paper. It's about a covenant that you make to one another and to the Lord. And so when we see marriage being belittled so often, that's what we do in our lives. And then we take these celebrities that we hold up as superhumans, and when they find that love, they find that peace, they find that thing, it just consumes us. I mean, it's funny the ways that I can remember. I can tell you exactly where I was when Prince William and Kate Middleton got married. Isn't that silly? I don't know very much about the royal family. I mean, I know some things. I'm not completely ignorant to it, but I'm not someone who follows the everything that goes on. I'm not. But that was such a big event happening that I can tell you exactly where I was when it happened, because I turned on the TV while I was getting ready for school and work and all that stuff that day. I got my son ready because he was in kindergarten, loaded him up, turned off the TV, loaded him up to drop him off so then I could go to work. And his teacher even had it playing on the TV in the classroom. So then I walk him into class so that everybody's sitting in there watching on the thing. I can tell you exactly where I was when it happened because it was such a big deal. It was so exciting. Every detail about the wedding, everything going on. I mean, their marriage is watched like hawks, right? Looking for their next bit of prey. Everybody is on top of it. We have this hope and this yearning down inside of us. We want to see the fairy tales. We want to see the man come in and love the woman and her be there to support him even in the hard times, and him to be there and he's the provider and the protector and he just loves her so much. That is the story that nearly all stories are made off of, right? Look at any great story, and there's this element to it that we just can't get enough of. When we see America's sweetheart Taylor Swift find the love of her life, and I will say, watching their interview, it was quite sweet. I was like, oh wow, I know nothing about these two people. I couldn't count on one hand as many facts as I know about them. I'm really, really quite ignorant to it. But watching them in their conversations, it was like, wow, I think you guys actually, and it's a pretty long interview. So for that long to be that engaged, I mean, you kind of see a good bit. I was like, wow, I think you guys might actually really be something there. I mean, what do I know? I don't know anything. But then it was funny then for this to come out and you're like, oh, okay, I gotcha. That makes a lot more sense. I think we all, as a culture, as a society, get so wrapped up and excited about engagements like this because deep down we have believed a lie to be cynical and even anti-establishment in marriage here in our lives. But at the pit of it all, it's what we desire most. True, lovely marriage in the purest sense that God created it to be. And while we might be too messed up and unable to deal with it in our own lives with what we actually have going on, we can project that longing into watching celebrities do it. Because they're just celebrities, right? So it's just entertainment. It's not that big of a deal. I'm making too much out of this. I'm sure I'll get some of those comments. But I think that's it. I think that's why the internet right now is literally losing its marbles, right? We're done with Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel said they're sorry. I doubt it. Who knows? Nothing with their DEI is going to change, so whatever. But they're going to put their old logo back, so everybody's going to kind of get off them for a minute. And now, save the day, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are here. That's all we care about, right? I get it. We jump from thing to thing. It's how the algorithms work. We're this excited and this invested as a culture about a singer and a football player getting engaged because marriage in our lives is looked upon so lowly and so just horrendously that we would much rather, instead of dealing with what we have right here in front of us, because that's difficult. That takes a lot of vulnerability and humility, and it is not fun. We'd much rather just project that longing onto these celebrities who are these perfect, modern day gods that we have in our world. And I think that what's really sad is that seeing the joy people have watching this go down, and the inevitable joy and anticipation that's going to come from when the wedding, when this, all the details, it's going to be everywhere. It's a little sad because it's just showing us how much that desire that the Lord designed us with. He designed us for this covenant love, and many of us don't have it. We don't even know where to get it. We don't even think that we want it. But that joy that we're projecting onto them should be the joy that we're living in our own lives and our own marriages. We should not be the forever girlfriends living in sin, giving away all our goods to some man who won't even commit to us. We should not be having children with multiple different people. We shouldn't be just sleeping with whomever we want, whenever we want. We shouldn't be just continuing on to pour into ourselves and our selfish desires, thinking that that's what's going to make us happy, because it's not. It's going to leave you empty and shallow and regretful. And so we have to look and see that, yes, are there celebrity marriages and things that happen that we want to cheer for and go, this is fantastic, this is so exciting, and I wish the best for them. Neither of them know the Lord, and so obviously, of course, my first prayer would be that they come to a true saving knowledge of the Lord. Do I hope that they have a healthy and wonderful, blessed marriage, that, they have such huge platforms? Imagine if they came to a true saving knowledge of the Lord. It would be insane. Imagine if they could build up a beautiful family and really be that just ambassadors of Christ to go out into the world. Of course, that would be like the coolest thing in the whole wide world. I mean, I'm going to not sit around and hold my breath for it, but do I wish them the best in their marriage? Do I wish them the best in their lives? Of course. Why would I not? I wish everyone the best. I don't want to see anyone suffer. But instead of just cheering on their joy and their love and their union, how can we start honoring our own? How can we start healing our own traumas in this area? How can we start holding up that sanctity of marriage and living that out in our own lives? Because clearly, we don't hate marriage like we've projected that we do, because we're super excited to see the dream team, America's couple get engaged. So it's not marriage that we hate. It's that we're struggling, we've been sold a lie, we have our own issues, and the tide has been so focused for so long on just those lies. Marriage is lame, nobody needs it, divorce is okay, right? Like, we've been saying these things for so long that that's what everybody's living. So who knows? Maybe if they have all this influence, people that have been worshiping these modern day gods will start going, wow, maybe having commitment and marriage and covenant, like maybe this is a good thing, right? Maybe it will lead to good things. I don't know. But I know that you and I here today can hold these mirrors up in front of ourselves and go, how do I view marriage? How do I treat my marriage? If I've been divorced, how do I look back on things? How do I move forward? What's my view and approach to marriage? Because marriage is nothing to hate. Marriage is a covenant, it's a blessing, and it's an illustration of the union the Lord has, Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, the Messiah, the Redeemer, the Savior, with us, His church. And are we perfect? Are our marriages perfect? No. But the one who designed them, trust me, He's got it dialed in. And so when we learn from Him and we see what it's supposed to be and we align ourselves to truth, you see a radical impact come into your life. And so, never thought I would say this, but if Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift could teach the world anything, it's that we don't hate marriage. We actually are really, really longing for it. And I'm praying for you if you are struggling in your views of marriage, if you've been living unmarried with someone else and you feel like you're never going to get to that point, if you've been one of those people who discredits marriage and thinks it's just a piece of paper and it's just an institution, I really would implore you to take that to prayer and look at that again. Because I don't think that really, deep down, past the trauma, the hurt, the influences, the whatever, I think deep down, we're all longing for this. Because it's what we were designed to do. So I love you all. I'm praying for you. What an interesting turn of events. I'm so far 2 for 2 of things that I didn't think I'd be talking about ever on YouTube. In the 2,000 videos I've made, I've talked about Cracker Barrel and Taylor Swift. So I'm definitely hitting some weird bingo algorithm this week. But I thought that was too crazy because the first thing I thought was, wait a second, I thought we hated marriage. Why are we so excited about this if we hate marriage? That makes no sense to me. But anyways, we talk about a lot of things around here. If any of them can ever be a blessing, you guys make sure to subscribe, turn on your bell, share this with a friend, right? Have these discussions with one another and be back here for the next videos. Go check out maybe this one right up here if you want a little something else to watch, where we just take fun topics and we just dig into them like a couple of friends sitting out here on the patio. I'm gonna go finish my delicious coffee my daughter made me, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. Bye, friends.